Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child Issue 1 sees the young Jonathan Kent watch as Clark and Lara bicker about his powers and how he has some new variations of Clark's amazing powers. Clark says that they will need to teach him while they can, but Lara thinks that they need to learn from her brother and let him teach them as well. Clark and Lara leave and John finally has some peace, but soon he listens to the city, learning of the people of Metropolis and how they also argue, and it's time for him to go. Years later, Lara and the older John overlook a car accident in the streets. Lara thinks that humans are like vermin, and the more they breed, the more mess they make. John, however, sees that the people care for each other and how hard they work at keeping each other alive, but his sister thinks that it's all for nothing. After they view a hospital and Lara tells John that all that humans do is hurt each other so they can fix each other and keep their pointless lives busy, Lara complains further about the humans and how they never stop eating and burning fossil fuels. John wants to know why Lara is so angry all the time, but she says what's not to be angry about, she's just being honest. They soon come across a political protest riot where a Joker themed group are beating some of the other protesters. Lara says that this is democracy in action, and during the riot, the Batwoman appears, taking down the Jokers and covering them in pink foam that immobilizes them. Backed by her own mob, the Batwoman takes the fight to the Jokers, aware that she is fighting fire with fire, but if the mob of hers wins, then it doesn't have to be pretty. John and Lara watch on as the Batwoman and her mob defeat the Jokers, causing everyone to disperse, and because of it, John knows that things will get very bad very soon. Batwoman, Lara and John retreat to the Bat Bunker, and under construction fortress Carrie and her people are building off the books. Lara says that all this turmoil in the world has to be coming from Darkseid, and if he finds them, there will be unimaginable horror for them. Carrie is sick of Lara's bad attitude since they will fight back if he ever shows up, but until then they will hide like rats that bite deep. Carrie goes and connects to the internet, catching up on the news and spreading word of her fight with the Jokers. She tells Lara and John that since their bosses are elsewhere, it's their job to deal with this mess, but Lara refuses to take orders from a rat like Carrie. Carrie says that she will take her orders since she understands nothing about this election happening, and Lara has no idea what to do about Darkseid. Lara relents, saying that she will listen, and John thinks that Carrie just achieved the impossible. Meanwhile, Joker asks Darkseid if he's perfect, and the god says that in his own little ways, the Joker is perfect. The perfect soundboard and agent of chaos, that is. He warns Joker to command his minions or die, but Joker says that he never dies as he looks over all of the Trump merchandise that they have had made up to promote their puppet politician. Joker's online trolls say that street violence is up, but voter turnout is as well. Darkseid is happy with that since his agents of chaos will soon flock to the polls and vote for their puppet politician. Batwoman meanwhile battles in another riot, getting Lara to bring her a beaten Joker, and making him talk. She wants to know where the Joker's bosses are. He refuses to talk, so Lara snaps his leg, and the man soon spills the location of the Joker, as Batwoman can't help but think her and Lara would make a heck of a team. Joker meanwhile proclaims that voter registration is up, and this isn't even an election anymore, it's an orgy. Darkseid tells him to calm himself and savor the victory once they know they have it, and not 1 second before. Joker finds Darkseid too depressing as the Dark Lord warns him of Lara and John arriving outside. John speeds in and saves the Joker-fied children on the computers so Lara can blast the room with her heat vision. She tells John to kill the boys, but he doesn't move as Lara pours her heat vision into the room, bringing the building down around Darkseid. Darkseid, however, turns into a giant black cloud, conjuring an electrical storm and blasting Lara and Batwoman. Darkseid says that he's the best friend the children ever have, since their parents and teachers will tell them that they can't do certain things, but he's there to tell them that they can do anything they want with the anti-life equation, which means that they will have no more worries. He tells the girls to sit, and Carrie does, saying that he's making sense as Darkseid has wiped her and everyone else's minds. He says to Lara that now they obey and soon the universe will be rendered perfect. Darkseid tries to blast Lara with the Omega effect, which Lara needs to dodge since one touch, while will not kill her, it will undo her, erasing who she is. Lara calls for Jonathan and her brother unleashes his powerful blue heat vision on Darkseid from behind. As John makes Darkseid burn, Lara leads the Omega effect beam back towards Darkseid, slamming it into him and causing a huge explosion, destroying a better part of the city. As car alarms ring out, the super siblings find Darkseid has been killed, with only his smoking helmet left, which Lara spits on. Despite the victory, the siblings only hear the pleas of the wounded as Batwoman gets up and reunites with Lara, confirming her kill. Soon a storm begins and blood rain begins pouring down onto the city. Batwoman thinks that this is Darkseid's doing, but Lara says that it's not him, it's nature itself. Lara knows that Darkseid will return to wreak revenge, but not on humanity, as Jonathan says that he will be coming for him. Sometime later, Darkseid is reborn in the stars, speeding back towards Earth, causing tsunamis and hurricanes as he lands, reborn in his physical form. He teleports away, soon vowing to return to Earth later. In Gotham, the Joker and his men speed through the streets as they are attacked by Batwoman, who deafens them with her sonic weapons, causing them to veer off the road. Carrie lands on another car, causing it to flip into the Joker's car, and despite knowing that this will be a mess, she knows it's going to be great. Joker dodges the car, but Carrie throws her batarangs at its tires, causing him to crash into an arcade. Joker and his men escape into the arcade as Carrie turns off the lights, picking off Joker's men one by one, while Joker begins shooting wildly and soon becomes scared once he runs out of bullets. Batwoman goads the Joker, calling him a total loser, and soon her phone's photo flash countdown goes off, blinding the Joker and snapping a picture of Batwoman taking the villain down. Afterwards, she sends the photo to Bruce, telling him that Joker has been taken care of. Outside in the streets, the governor is unmasked as a Joker stooge, but the people still listen to his speeches, saying that he makes sense. Batwoman jams the signals as suddenly the city is hit by a huge firestorm, which rolls between the skyscrapers, destroying everything as Darkseid returns. Lara confronts him, saying that she is there to end his foul soul into the endless void, never to return. Darkseid blasts her with his Omega beams, saying he will never be undone by her, and now she must enter the maelstrom. The beam circles Lara as she begins to call forth the winds, spinning the beam around and firing it back at Darkseid, who says she is already his thanks to her wells of rage, from which he drinks deep from. Lara falls under Darkseid's control, told Jonathan is to become a mighty king in Darkseid's name, grooming him into a mighty ruler by giving him slave worlds to play with like marbles. Jonathan watches his sister's soul be taken, told by Darkseid that she is his weapon to kill worlds with. John knows that she won't be killing anyone except for Darkseid, confronting the god and telling him to fire away since he wants to see what the old man has. Darkseid obliges John, who fires his own blast and absorbs the Omega beam, combining it with his own and unleashing his neutron vision, which bends reality itself as it strikes Darkseid, ripping him apart, but not enough as he grabs John, telling the boy that he is Darkseid and powers all of the universe, and since John is part of that universe, he is part of Darkseid and of use to the universe, and all that isn't of use to the universe is just resistance. John suddenly bursts into energy, saying that while Darkseid can no longer see him, he is right there within him, inside his head and brain. Darkseid tears into his head, as John says that he hurt Lara, so he will kill the god. Darkseid tries to kill Lara for John's insolence, but John absorbs her into him as well, saving her from the Omega beams and telling her that they will be going away now to make things right. Lara tells Darkseid that they will be back to kill him, and soon Darkseid is left in a crater of his own creation when he's suddenly smashed in the head by a rock, learning that he now bleeds thanks to being rendered mortal by John. The rock was thrown by Batwoman, who surrounds the defeated god with her own army, telling him that they will never turn to him and that they are thinking for themselves now and they are free, which is why they will always win. Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child issue 1 was the most Frank Miller comic of 2019, which is saying something since DC had 2 books this year from him, and the other one was much more of a reserved Frank Miller. This one tackles modern politics and the discourse that surrounds it head on, embedding it into a story which sees an unhinged Lara and Carrie battle Darkseid, whom is using the Joker as a patsy to control Trump, which is the most Frank Miller story I could ever think of. For some reason, taking over Earth with Trump is what Darkseid now has been reduced to, even though throughout the story we're told that he's an immortal cosmic god and this is all beneath him, yet this is something he wants to do. I was actually surprised Frank didn't throw his own warped politics into the mix like he usually does, meaning the book is strangely reserved in that way, which makes it quite the weird read since you keep expecting it to happen but it never really does. Jonathan Kent is also set up as a big player in all of this, but there is no real payoff as to why he's the titular golden child and what makes him so special. We're just told in the first few pages that, oh, he's different, he's got different powers, and we're just left at that. We don't see him learning these powers or Clark and Lara teaching him how to learn these powers and sort of stuff. We're just told that he's special and that he comes in at the end and just saves everyone, question mark. I assumed after the ending of Dark Knight 3 we would be getting something slightly a bit more hopeful with Lara and Carrie, but here they are just as insane as the people they are beating, with Lara even going on pages long monologues about how she utterly hates humans and despises them so much. At least the book is a one and done, for now at least, until this book somehow sells out and DC is forced to make, 20 dozen tie-ins and sequels. I'm going to give this issue a 2 out of 10.